morning, everybody. Yes, it is still morning here in Chicagoland, and it is the 21st of January, 2023. Yes, it's the 21st, yeah, odd day of the month. Earth calling. Well, yesterday was kind of cool. I did receive a few questions in the comments from yesterday's video. One, I did shoot up I had to answer her question with a question, so I did. Please email me for further information. Got to remind everybody, this is for entertainment purposes only. Full disclaimer is down in the box. Now, a couple of the questions, one of them is asking, what would Queen Mary, who was married to George V, who was Edward VIII's parents, the question is from Morgan Le Fay, and she's questioned. Her comment is, saw you on the Duchess of Narcissus and decided to follow you. Thank you very much. You remind me of Carol Eve. I have to look up to see who that is because I don't keep up on who else does what I do. It's my thing. I mean, I do talk to other people who are readers, and certain people do get a hold of me for stuff that are other online readers and so forth. So I started doing this publicly back in the late 70s, early 80s. Yeah. I mean, during the 80s, I was all over television doing European and Japanese television doing stuff. So someone wants to dig hard. Yeah, you're going to find television programs with me on it. Okay. And so to get back, Morgan asked, what would Queen Mary, what would she think of what her family's going through now? Queen Mary's rolling her eyes. Just rolling her eyes. She goes, it's Wallace and David all over again. But this time, this woman is not beneficial to the family or to the government as Wallace was. The family knew that Edward VIII, had sympathetic views to things. And it was Wallace who actually took the fall in that situation. She did what was needed to be done to basically save the free world. Like I said before, Wallace has come to me. She said, I lost the love of my life, but I did grow to love him. Wallace knew what had to be done. She saw what was happening. Yes, in her situation, the world according to Wallace, it's called keep your friends close, but your enemies even closer. So yes, there's some horrible rumors that flow around her, but she was being nice to these guys in order to get information to pass on to the correct sources. Yeah, so there's rumors of her being involved with a German diplomat and being very cordial and mesmerizing to Adolf. But that was an act. She was doing that so she could get some, they'd talk openly in front of her. And whatever they said was sent back to the correct places. And another person going by the name of Nothing to See Here, their comment is, I found you live on Duchess Narcissus. You were interrupted when you were talking about Queen Elizabeth I, II, and the Queen Mother, what they thought on the Harry and Meghan situation. And could you please comment? Has Diana, okay. Queen Elizabeth I, I've never picked up anything with her. Sorry, she doesn't come through with me. QE2, even though I did meet her as a child, she hasn't come through. I haven't heard anything from her yet. She's too busy. She's spending time with her family, her mother, father, sister, husband. There's a lot of family that she's catching up with on the other side. So to someone like me, she's not going to be talking to. She has other people to catch up with. Okay, she wants to sit and talk back with her dad. And the Queen Mom, I kind of got a glimpse of, and she was just like Megan and rolling her eyes. She's like, oh God, all over again. So the Queen Mom is just, she's disgusted. We thought Diana was bad. This one's 10 times worse. So that's what I get for the Queen Mom. And although I did see and have some interaction with Diana Dutch Spencer back in the late 70s, 1980, she's come through for other people. I'll just get a hunch, but from my personal experience of being basically the same age as Diana, okay, she's a couple months older than me. Diana we had the same ideology. Diana would be totally disgusted with Megan. I mean, second, third marriage and some of the behavior, and Diana would just be rolling her eyes and just being supportive. So when everything does crash and burns, she'll be there to pick up the pieces. Yes, Diana is on the other side. No, she's not alive. She's not out walking around. Now, something, while I was getting glued together today, I listened to rock. I was teenager in the 70s and young adult in the 80s. So yeah, I grew up with my older brothers and sisters listening to the Beatles, Rolling Stones, the Who. And hey, I mean, hair bands, glam bands for me in the 80s. And it was so weird. I'm like getting glued together and I'm listening to like a song by John Sykes. And I'm getting like Jim Morrison, of all people. And it wasn't like when somebody has passed over, you get a feeling one way. And Morrison was always known to be very spiritual and knew more than a lot of people did. And I kept getting this thing that he's putting it out in the energy fields. Like, now I'm picking up the Jim Morrison vibe, and it's like saying, tell Robbie to get the stuff out of the trunk. Now, the only thing I can think of is Robbie Krieger. So I think I got the feeling that there is materials that have been stashed away, and they use the term trunk, like stash it away for later use. It's time to bring that stuff out into the forefront. And what was strange is I did not get the same vibe as I do from people that pass over, but it was almost like he's still a living person, still hanging out someplace. And yeah, they said, oh, he died back in 70, 71, 72, early 70s at the age of 27. And my dad kind of said something when they saw it on TV. My brother came running upstairs. Oh my God, did you hear Jim Morrison of the Who is dead? And my dad kind of looked at him and he goes, why? He goes, the guy's not dead. Last week, one of the other guys was talking. He had him in first class. He took the polar flight from London to LA. And yeah, the company my dad technically was under was TWA, and they did have a polar nonstop flight that flew between Los Angeles and London. And my dad said, no, so-and-so had him in first class last week. The guy's not dead. The guy's not in Paris. The guy's in America. So these are just little stuff that I remember as from childhood. So possibly he's still been walking around, hiding out, laying low here in the States. And his psychic energy is put out for someone to relay a message. Hey, Robbie Krieger, if you see this, hear this, whatever, this is my gut feeling, what I'm seeing, feeling. If you've got his old storage locker, foot locker that's been locked up, check out. There's material in there that it's time for it to be released out. And see what else. Oh, yes, everybody's talking about Andrew this, Andrew that. I did go back and I did discuss Andrew and some of the things he's been up to on my January 5th video. I noticed it hasn't gotten too many views because it was one of my first videos, so people kind of like, eh. But now that I put the stupid clairvoyant word in the front of my titles, people are picking this up. So go back, read that. It pertains to Andrew, and Andrew he's not lost the HRH. Technically, he's not using it right now because he's not a working senior royal. But he will be back working. Maybe not in some of the big hoo-ha profile events, but hey, he is already making family appearances. He escorted his mom to that service. He has been seen out in public, like attending church service on Christmas morning. So he still has his HRH. And gradually he will be back into the public eye working on stuff. And so people just need to chill out about him. He's actually a good guy. He infiltrated that Miami circle to get the goods. And people say, oh, well, he has to release what he saw. I go, all his evidence is already in the hands of the people where it needs to be. Chill out. It's not like he's going to come out and go on a talk show and say, oh, I saw the Miami guy do this, or I saw this happen or that, and oh, I saw whatever, yada, yada. It doesn't work that way, people. When somebody who has served their time in the military then goes and starts working with another agency, they don't go out and broadcast stuff that they do. They stay really quiet about it. I talk about things my dad did because the stuff I discuss happened over between 45 and 50 years ago. And usually they have a statute of limitations of things being shut down for 50 years. So I kind of walk that fine line. I talk about things that happened to me when I was primarily from age 10 and younger, so I don't get my butt in trouble. But like I said, my videos are for entertainment only. And I hope everybody has a good day. I don't want to go on any more of a rant, but yeah. I hope I answered everybody's questions. But I'm like, getting Jim Morrison today? I'm like, what the hell? Who's next? Karen Carpenter? Who knows? But everyone have a great one. It's Saturday, and I'll probably be talking at you on Monday. Bye.